We are the wise and wicked crones. Got no time for lies, no time for casting stones. Wise and wicked, no time for fears or prevarications. Wise and wicked, gonna rise among the nations. Crones are gonna spread our wisdom around the nations. We are the wise and wicked crones. Wise and wicked crones.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you enjoying this never-ending summer?
Oh, the weather is so beautiful outside today.
It's been amazing. And I don't know if you checked out the moon last night, but the moon with the clouds, it looked just like our banner.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. I had my knitting group, and that's what they said. They went, "Oh my God, that looks like your banner."
You know, that's a picture I took.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, because I didn't want to have to look for something that somebody had taken and find rights and stuff. So yeah, no, that's one I took.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Well, talk about being perfect and talk about serendipity and talk about it being perfect. So there you
There we go.
Everything is connected. There you
And
go.
everything is connected. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Yes, thank you. And just want everyone to know that this episode is being recorded on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee people. And my name is Leea Nutson. I am a warrior. I have to read all this. Warrior, a widow, a political wonk, a rabid knitter, a yoga enthusiast. I've started yoga again. Yay. Also a workout enthusiast, a grandmother, a dog lover, and a drinker of multiple types of wine now.
She used to say fine wine, then she said any. Yeah.
I'm on a budget, so it's
Oh man. Well, and I'm Peggy Sample, and also known as Margarett in certain circles. And mine changes every week because it hasn't been written down, although I keep thinking I will. I am a creator, a musician, a lover of nature, a lover of yoga, a lover of people, a lover of kindness. Yeah, that'll be me for today. I'm back to writing again, which is very exciting and happy. And my writers group has started meeting up again for the fall. So all talking about circles that we did a couple of episodes ago. And I want to read our mission statement, which is our mission is to bring you thought-provoking, interesting, and often humorous wisdom that will enhance your life and enlighten your spirit. Nothing is sacred. This is a frank look at life and an open space for discussion. We welcome you into our worlds. There we go.
There you go. And the opinions expressed in this episode are our own. You may disagree with what you hear, and that's fine. Feel free to disregard what we say and move on to the next. We wish you the best of life, love, and happiness.
Yes, and everything here is for entertainment and educational purposes only. There we go. So, shall we start with an oracle card?
Let's do pick one.
Okay. Every episode, I pull a card to help us kind of focus on what's going on, give us a little bit of more insight. And these are the Mother Piece tarot cards. Here's one. Oh, 8 of Discs. 8 of Discs is a wonderful card of women working. I always think of it as like parallel play. See, everyone is doing their own thing, but they're all working together to create beauty, to create practical things, to support each other in sisterhood.
Wonderful.
Kind of what we're trying to do here. So
exactly what we're trying to do here. And I'm so glad that you had what is it you had mentioned earlier? Something about goodness in the world. I don't know. I just feeling lately there's so much poison and vitriol and negative feelings and things like that. And really makes it very, very challenging on a day-to-day basis, and makes it very, very difficult for, just to have a clear and joyful mind. So our topic today is
letting go.
And
because, we last episode was all about grief. And I mean, we may return to that at some point. But this time we thought we'd talk about letting go, because regret, remorse, things that just eat away at us and eat away at us. And Leea and I both have very active brains. I'm sure many of you do too, but that, it just goes and goes and goes and goes. Like, I can sometimes beat myself up for things that happened when I was a teenager. Like, come on. Right?
I totally understand what you're saying, because about a month or maybe 2 months ago now, and maybe it's an age thing, maybe it's a point in your life thing, I don't know, but I was starting to think about all the things that I had so seriously regretted that had happened in the past, that I couldn't do a do-over. And it really mired me down almost into a state of depression, but certainly profound sadness, because I was really feeling terrible about some of these things in the past that you cannot change. It happened, and some of them were out of your control. So I think this is really, really timely. And many of you have a monkey mind. Margaret has a monkey mind. I got a monkey mind. The mind doesn't stop. And it really takes a lot of self-control and positive reinforcement to encapsulate stuff and put it. I think about putting it in a bubble and then blowing the bubble away, just let it go type of thing. There was a wonderful trick that we used to do years ago in Party Light. I don't know if you recall this, but we used to put a rubber band on our wrist.
Oh, yeah.
That
That used to be big corporate training across
yeah.
the world, I think. Yeah.
But this does work. You put a rubber band on your wrist, and every time you have a negative thought, you snap that band. And yes, it does hurt, but it works. And you do it for 30 days, and it really does help you to turn your brain around and shut the door on whatever that issue is. However, if it's an unresolved issue, of course, you're going to want to work through it. But something that you're just feeding your brain over and over and over again, this is a really good little trick.
Because you have to become aware that you're doing it, right? You have to become aware that you're beating yourself up, or you're holding on to stuff, or you're not letting go. And so the rubber band is a really good way of reminding you, and then you don't like pain, so you stop doing it. It's also, just the whole thing about looking back, and we have to remind ourselves that at the time we were doing what we needed to do. We weren't like, sometimes I look back at myself 10 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever, and I have to just have compassion, because what I didn't know. And if I had known differently, I may have made different choices, but I just have to go back, and I had a great therapist who really helped me work on this, because he would say to me, but did you do that because you thought that was the wrong thing, or you were just being, flippant? And I was like, no, I grieved a lot, and I thought long and hard, but I felt compelled. I had to do it, and I didn't see any other ways. And he's like, there you go. Could you please have compassion for that person you were then? And yeah, and it's hard. And then sometimes also, to flip it, he said, sometimes let your 21-year-old self forgive your 40-year-old self for things that she did that weren't what the 21-year-old envisioned.
Yes. Yeah. And part of the things that were troubling me were things somebody else had done where I should have intervened. And it was enormously cathartic for me. About 2 weeks ago, I confronted somebody with something that they had done that I have been carrying for many, 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 many years, and should have unburdened myself, and have never told anybody, and not even the guilty person. And I finally told them. And of course, they denied everything, but it was enormously, enormously freeing to do that. The other thing I did recently was not tell somebody off, but tell somebody how I felt about something that they were doing. And because often as women, we want to be nice, or we don't like confrontation, or this or that. But I've decided after that first situation that I dealt with a couple of weeks ago, that I was no longer going to be silent when something bothers me. I'm gonna, and it's not name calling, it's not yelling, it's not insulting. It's just saying, this is how I feel about this.
And when you're coming from that's where and it's not like, oh, I feel like you make me feel. No, no, I feel
How I
that
feel.
this is how, I'm responding. And I think that a lot of the time, what we regret about things in the past that people did to us was that we didn't speak up.
Exactly.
And I think so there it's not, so it's not that we of course we regret an incident, but it's not, if we had no control, we have no business regretting it. It's okay, we could regret that we didn't take it on at the time, or didn't say something, but that's okay. We forgive ourselves and we move forward, right? Like, oh, bug.
Hi. But no, I completely agree. I completely agree, but I'm no longer going to be silent. That is the
Good.
thing. And I'll tell you something, and it has been the most liberating and empowering feeling. And I actually, for the first time since Bob passed, actually kind of had several days of feeling really like lighthearted and joyful more.
Yay.
And then of course something else happened, and then
Well,
totally
which you can now let go of. I mean,
yeah, and actually I do have a rule for letting go, and I can't always adhere to it, but I want to practice it, and I remind myself, my rule is you're allowed to stew about it for 24 hours, and then you gotta let it go. You've got that 24-hour period to deal with it, deal with the incident, deal with the person, deal with your feelings. And I mean, in context, I mean, it could be an enormous incident that requires more, but most of these annoyances, give it 24 hours, move on.
because we don't want to be holding conversations in our head. Oh, I should have said, oh, I wish I'd done, oh, la, 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 la. No, let it go. And I mean, this is the perfect time of year for having this conversation because it's autumn. And this is the time, and there's some beautiful memes out there, right? Like, this is when trees remind us how beautiful it is to let go, right? With all the changing leaves and the colors and things. And and sometimes it's easy to say, well, just let it go. But so there are tricks and techniques that I'm sure both of us have come up with. So I'll start with one that works for me energetically. And people know I do a lot of spiritual and energetic work, right? So one of the things is cutting cords. Because anytime you have an interaction with someone, you are creating an energetic cord. And I think of them as going from belly button to belly button. Sometimes they're heart to heart, but so what I do is I cut the cord. So I stand up so you can see, and I just do like this. I cut the cord. And so and as I do it, I am consciously thinking in my head, okay, I'm cutting the cords. You cut the cords with people, even people you love, if it's about an energy connection that you just don't, okay, I don't need to carry that incident anymore. I'm cutting that tie of that energetic. And it's amazing. I have a friend and she prefers to do scissors. But you're cutting those ties, and you can also just do it in your head, Actually, I'm gonna talk for a little bit about this one. Just because sometimes we have people we're holding on to, especially old relationships, bad boyfriends, whatever. And we just, so there's always a connection. If you close your eyes and you imagine you're floating in space or whatever, you can imagine, what does that cord look like? And sometimes it starts out looking like one of those underwater ocean cords. And to cut it, you need a big, huge blowtorch. And I release you, I bless you, I send you away with love. That's it. I forgive you. You have to do so. Sometimes I forgive you, but you just, whatever that is. And then the next day you check in again. Is it gone? Oh, it's back, but it's smaller. And then you keep going until it's a little tiny thread, and you just go boop, and they float away and they never come back.
Gone.
That really works.
Absolutely. Because what happens is when you start to obsess over somebody or something like that, is that you give it power. And when you're giving it power, you're taking away from your personal power.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I felt so empowered again after dealing with these two issues, because I had taken my power back.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really important to do. You know, we talk about internal and external locus of control sometimes. So internal locus of control, if you have a very strong internal locus of control, like I think you and I both do, we feel responsible for everything, but we also feel we're in control. People who have a strong external locus of control feel they're never responsible and that they never have control. Some people are on that bell curve for that, and that's fine. And there are times when we really should realize that there are issues that we are not responsible for or can't make a difference. But, you know, so it's a good idea if you can figure yourself out a little bit, like where are you on that spectrum of the locus of control? Like, how do you cope with things? How do you deal with things? How do you face things, and how do you take them on?
Yeah, because if you're always thinking, oh, it's external, then as you said, nothing is my fault. It's
Yes.
always someone else's fault.
Yes.
And then also there's nothing I can do about it because, well, and sometimes there's not anything you can do except change your mindset.
Exactly. Change the language in your brain. And that is there are very few things in this world that we can control. And one of them is our self-talk. We can control our self-talk.
Yeah.
And I know with myself, I often, if something happens and I get so down, and then, like I said, I kind of give it the 24 hours, and then I get my warrior back. And then I'm like, no, I'm not letting that. And then like, that's not taking me down, you know, and I can allow myself to move on with that. You know, I don't want to waste I don't want to waste time and regret, you know.
Well, and have you ever heard the phrase renting space in my head for
Yeah.
free? You know,
Yeah.
like I saw on, it was a Candid Camera show, and they were like refusing to give change other than like they'd give you $5 change, but that was it. And it wouldn't give you any coins or smaller bills. And if it didn't, then it was a donation to the store. And this, like, people were getting incensed. And this one guy goes, that doesn't seem fair. Oh, but that's the rule, sir. That's the way it is. And he's like, oh, well, whatever. And they talked to him and they said, hey, this is like Candid Camera. And how could you be so calm? And he's like, I'm not giving you that space in my head for free. I was like, whoa.
A good one. Because that
Right?
is a meme. I have heard that. I've heard that phrasing before. That is definitely a meme. So yeah.
Yeah.
So think about how much personal power we give away, how much we need to reclaim, and what are the things that we can do. Sorry, did you have more that you wanted to talk about shutting down, or can we talk about?
I don't know. It'll come back if it that was I
Okay.
really wanted to get that one exercise out when I was
I
thinking
think
about
that's a
it.
wonderful one because you've done that with me before, and
Mhm.
I have forgotten about that. So thank you. I'm glad to get that back in my repertoire of you know,
Ways
whatever.
to let go. Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of things you can do and when we mean moving on, we don't mean moving on necessarily from, you know, the types of griefs and things like that we talk about. We just mean kind of like making a fresh start to re-empower yourself. So there's a lot of different things that I have done over the years. One of my favorite things to do is, and some people might think this is weird, but is I go on a diet. If I feel my life is out of control, I go on a diet.
Now, is that scary for you because of your history?
Yes, because I was an anorexic teenager, and no, it's not, because usually at that point in time, one of the frustrations that I have is weight, because I have, you know, that 30 pounds that goes back and
Oh,
forth.
yeah.
So fortunately, I've kept it off for almost 2 years now, so I feel really good about that. But I've found that diet. I used to say in Party Light, I would say to the consultants, there's only two things you can control. One is your Party Light business, and one is your weight. Those are the only two things you have control over. So even if it's not necessarily that, even just changing an eating plan, you know, or you know, looking at the types of food, or it's just something different. Maybe you eat a diet that's very heavy in meat and potatoes. Maybe try a Mediterranean diet, like something like that, that kind of, you know, gives you a different focus. I find that enormously
Gives you
helpful.
control. Yeah, it gives you some control. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and the most powerful thing that I have ever done, it was a Party Light exercise, was and it was, I did under the guidance of the woman who was running our company, was I wrote out a list of absolutely everything I wanted in life. And then I wrote out another list of everything I didn't want, that I wanted to stop or get rid of or move on from. And then she had me itemize, or not itemize. She had me, and I had a list of like 150 things I wanted. She had me take all of those things that I wanted and categorize them and write a letter to myself in the future, describe what had happened in 5 years in the past. And the astonishing, and I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous podcast, but I wish I still had that stupid letter, because the thing of what happened was absolutely everything came true. And I had to change husbands to get it, but still, about to do me for an upgrade. But the thing was, I ended up, at least for a period of time, with what I had envisioned: the weekend house, my daughter in a good group home, at least one of the kids married, all these things, working this, being able to work out, being able to indulge in hobbies. Like, it was incredible. And I think it harkens back to that saying, we spend more time planning a holiday or a wedding than we do planning our lives. But it's incredible what happens when you actually do that exercise. And it would probably be a really good, I sort of
Well,
have,
it's funny because I think our next topic is manifestation, and that we'll talk about that again.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it really, but did it also help you to let go of the things you didn't want on that list?
Yeah, I did. It really did. Yeah, and a lot of those things that I was were bothering me were interestingly enough, were not things that I was doing, it was things other people were doing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but
And you weren't talking about them and weren't dealing with them, which takes us
or I
back.
couldn't deal with them because they're or the nature.
Sometimes it's not safe, right?
Sometimes you can't do it because the person, and not everybody is self-aware or introspective. And even if you confront them with something that they're doing or a behavior that they have, they're still clueless. And the interesting thing about it, those people are still behaving the same way they've done.
And sometimes we have to let go of the relationship. And sometimes we have to let go of caring about it because that's who they are. And so if there's someone whom you can't completely let go out of your life, then it's like, okay, that's how they are. And it doesn't, I'm not going to let it get to me. And how can I deal with it? I had an uncle, and when I had Gregory and he was a little baby, this uncle, anytime I would see him, he would tell me how to do everything. And he'd already used to do it. He told me how to make tea. Was I making tea properly by bringing the teapot to the kettle and not the other way? It would make me crazy. And then I went, there's an easier way. And so the next time that he said to me, oh, he should have a hat on and he should have a blanket wrapped right around him so he feels secure. I said, wow, thank you so much. I'm going to try that. Oh, and it was the best thing. And I just kept, every time he would say anything, even if it was really crazy, I would say, oh, just put some brandy on his tongue. He'll go to sleep. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Oh, let me think about that and I might try it. Oh, I think I better plug in my computer because the little note just came up that, anyway, talk. So anyway, so that's a really fun thing to do.
That story. And another part of that too, though, is with letting go with people you cannot change, is and I kind of realized this in my first marriage, that I was dishonoring him because that's the way he was. And I couldn't appreciate and be okay with that. So it wasn't fair to him.
Yeah.
That I was, you might as well let it go. You can't. No, it sounds like it just like let it go. But no, I mean, in a marriage or in a relationship that you have to move on when and stop fighting it. Just, it is what it is.
Those people who you spend time with and you feel so exhausted and so drained afterwards. And it's like, it might be a long time person in your life, but sometimes if it's that exhausting and you think about it and figure out why, well, sometimes you just need to distance yourself and let go, not with any malice, not with any anger, but just, we're just not jiving the right way, and we will both be happier. And sometimes, I mean, I know that was certainly the case for me. I was like, no, I want that I want them to be happy. I want, particularly the one person I'm thinking about, I want him to be happy. And I believe he can be happier when he has someone around who just,
Appreciates for what they are.
appreciates for everything, not just part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think that's really, that is very important to understand. The other things you can do a little bit of letting go and moving on. So a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, she had her first husband had died very young in a car accident, like at a very young age. And she had taken all of the photographs and letters and all kinds of memorabilia and put them in boxes and stored them at her parents' place. And they were there for a number of years. So she finally got these boxes back. And I mean, we're talking, this has happened decades ago. Okay. And the boxes were bothering her because it was opening up this past and the painful ending for it. And the happy memories as well. But she finally dealt with it over the weekend and found that it was enormously cathartic to go through all of this stuff and happy memories and everything like that, condense these boxes down to what was really, really meaningful to her to keep and then to let go of the rest. And I thought that was absolutely amazing, and a very, very difficult thing to do, because it is that happy, sad, kind of a tragedy, and that you have to deal with. And she lent me this book. I haven't tucked into it yet. It's called Lighter: Letting Go of the Past, Connect with the Present, Expand the Future.
Oh, wow.
It was #1 New York Times bestseller by Yung Pueblo, author of Clarity and Connection. So I'm going to read this. I think it looks it looks like a pretty fast read, and I think it's it might be a really helpful book for somebody
Oh,
to
that
look
sounds really cool. Yeah. And I mean, that's another thing that people don't understand until they've done it. The power of decluttering your space.
Exactly.
And I am a constant declutterer because I am a constant clutterer. And so stuff will, and then I go and I can let go of things. And I'm currently going through a little bit of a letting go of things, and it's a Marie Kondo. I love Marie Kondo, The Art of Decluttering, or whatever it's called. But she says to hold something, and if it doesn't give you joy or you don't need it to fulfill some task, then is it time to let it go on to someone else? And I mean, I have clothes like that I just love. Okay, here's a little example. My best thrift find ever was I found a silk embroidered jacket and trouser pantsuit, Simon Chang.
Oh, wow. I love Simon Chang.
For $12.
Really?
$12. Silk, and it was gorgeous. And it's a little small for me right now. But I'm working my way back down to it. But it was hanging in my closet, and I had a friend over, and I looked at her and I went, oh, I think this would fit you. And she's younger, and she's in that, going out and working in that world. And I said, why don't you try it on? And oh my God, it looked beautiful on her. And there you go. And it was like letting go of something I loved. And she said, but it's your best thrift find ever. And I said, but it looks beautiful on you. And if you decide you don't want it anymore, ask me, I might want it back. But
yeah, perfect.
right?
So I'm a hoarder when it comes to clothes. As Margarett can tell you, she has seen my closet. Yeah. So I now have a rule, 1 in, 1 out rule. You get something new, let go of something. And there's many willing females in my family who are happy to take over things that get rid of. But even small things. So I did two things. I was getting really frustrated with my pant situation because I have a lot of pants, and I finally invested again in some really good pant hangers from Amazon, and the amount of joy that it gave me to reorganize my summer pants and my winter pants, color coordinated. But honestly, and then I turned around and did the same thing I have a lot of cosmetics, like a lot of stuff. And I have, like, the current stuff and then the refills already ready to go. And I sat down on my bathroom floor the other day and reorganized that. And again, it just gave me, was one of the knitting podcasters say, it was heart jumping, just a simple thing to do. So there's no bad time to do, like you alluded to earlier. No, this is a great time of year to start afresh. It's why not just let it go, get organized, get rid of stuff.
We're coming up to they call it Witches' New Year, right? It's like in the fall as everything lets go, and then it kind of goes quiet and silent and underground. It's because it's renewing. You just can't see it. It's that internal work that here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're moving into that phase. So we're coming into fall, autumn, letting things go, falling away. And then it's a really good time. There's spring cleaning too. Spring cleaning is also great. So if you're in the Southern Hemisphere and you're watching this, spring cleaning.
But I usually start my big cleaning in January, and I actually start at the top, in my craft room, and work my way down the house, and I get rid of stuff. And I got rid of an enormous amount of pillows, which you'll find really surprising because you know what a pillow hoarder I am.
You have so many pillows. I have never seen so many pillows in one bedroom before. It was and she said, "Oh, these are my summer pillows. I still have to change over to my winter pillows." I was like, oh, wow.
I got all kinds of decorative. I got never mind.
But that's okay because they bring you joy. Yes. Marie Kondo would not say get rid of those.
Oh, and there are certain things, believe it or not, I have my mother's going away suit. When she got married, I don't think brides know what a going away suit is. So that thing's almost 70 years old. I still have it. I no longer can fit into it, but I used to wear it actually quite a bit because it's one of those timeless suits.
I had my mom's. I wore it as my going away outfit. And then when my sister was doing some job interviews, I loaned it to her, and she still has it, which is fine because I think it fits her now and it would be too tight on me right now. So
I have my prom dress when I was runner-up to the May Queen, and I still have that. And actually it's still quite fashionable. You could probably still get away with it.
Now I let go of mine a couple of years ago because there were two things, and I went to like 4 or 5 proms. Anyway, long stories, but anyway, the one I really loved, and I had worn it. Oh, I used to wear it as a costume. It was like cheesecloth and very Juliet like. And my young neighbor across the road where I lived was that kind of girl, and so I gave it over, right? Like letting go so it could have a new life. My Barbies, Leea, did I tell you that I gave away all my Barbies?
Did you really? Oh,
I did. My cousin by marriage and her little girls, they came to visit a year ago, and the girls, they were bored, so I pulled out my Barbie collection and all my Barbie clothes and my Barbie suitcase because I had. They weren't all like Barbies. There was a Kelly doll from Kellogg's, and anyway, and they were playing with them and they were loving. And I went to bed, and I was like, I should give them away. I don't want to let go of them. Maybe I could get money for them. And then I was like, what would these dolls be worth? And I was like, maybe, a few $100s. And then I went, but I'm not going to do that. And I don't really want to. And it's time to let go of these dolls and give them. My mom says she doesn't know how I did it, but so I gave my Barbie collection to these little girls who love them, especially one. They play with them. And when I went to visit, and the one took me up to her room to show me the Barbies, and she said, "And look, I put her head on this body." And I kind of went, I let it go. They're not mine anymore. They're hers. And she's playing with them, and that's what toys are supposed to have, right? But
I wish I had a Barbie. I really, really do. And I don't, because I had younger sisters and,
so they got them. So you let them go young.
Yeah, I did let them go. And I kind of regret giving up my Twiggy doll. I actually had a doll. Remember Twiggy the model? I had a
Yeah.
Twiggy. And
That's why we all thought we should be like this thin.
yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, so yeah, I did a bit. I've also hung on to, I got rid of most of Bob's clothes because the many men in my family, including my ex-husband, all fit into them. So I got rid of, and he's running around wearing his, boots and all this kind of stuff. But I did keep a few things of Bob's that I put in a memory box. And actually, not Winners, Home Sense. They sell, I don't know if you've seen these wonderful heavy cardboard memory boxes. They're quite decorative.
Okay.
And they're a really nice thing to get. They're not very expensive, and this is not.
Do they have like a plastic or a glass coating on the front?
Oh, no, they're like
That's like a shadow box, right? For the
Oh,
displaying
no,
things.
no. You're thinking of something different. This is like a
Yeah.
big, large box that's like all covered in, I could be florals or something. It's a memory box, and it closes. You can't see what's inside of it. And I throw special cards in there. The first drawing my granddaughter gave me, some, cards Bob, gave me. Like I have 3 of them now, and that allows me to curate what I'm keeping and what I'm getting rid of. But those memory boxes are a really nice thing to get, and
Okay.
you can,
Because we don't have to let go of everything, folks. And sometimes we think, oh no, I have to let go of it. No, you don't have to let go of everything.
no, you don't.
But you do need to let go of the things that weigh you down.
Exactly.
So those regrets, that remorse, that I shoulda, woulda, coulda, didna. So now it's time to let go of it, right? Like, and free yourself.
Keep talking. I gotta grab something here.
Okay, so you have to free yourself from that stuff. And the thing about letting go of stuff, which does hold on, I mean, it's amazing. So when you are cleaning out, you can actually say, I'm cleaning the cupboards of my mind. I am decluttering my soul. You can also oh, what was the thing I was going to say? It may come back to me. You're holding on to, oh, I know. You can take pictures of things. I found an old scrapbook from when I was little, like I'm talking under 7. Because I had graphic novels I had written at the time. Who knew they were even a thing, of bewitched stories.
That was the anniversary today. Today's the anniversary 60 years ago of the first Bewitched episode.
That's so cool. Okay, synchronicity. Okay. Yep. For me as a little girl, I could never understand why she just didn't use her witchcraft to clean the house and go to Paris for the day when her husband was at work. So that's what I wrote in my, but anyway, so it's like, I've got to let go of this. And I did all sorts of drawings and stuff, but I had to I didn't need this old kind of musty scrapbook my mom had kept with all sorts of other stuff. So I took pictures. I took pictures and they're stashed on my computer. But so things that you really don't need the thing, but you kind of want to keep a bit of the memory. Take pictures and let them go. Pass them on to someone else who's going to get joy from them.
Exactly. So, and another thing that I find enormously helpful for me, and I'm just checking my notes here in case you're wondering what I'm doing, is I come up with a word for the year and then another word for the month. Yeah. So the word for the year is illuminate, and my word for the month of September is focus. And then I try and pick 2 things that 2 resolutions that I'm going to do. It could be get up at 6:30, not just think about getting up at 6:30. It could be read for a half an hour a day. And this is, again, there's no monetary, there's nothing to do with this. I'm just sharing this with you. This is a wonderful day timer. For those of you who like them, cloth bound by Hemlock and Oak, and they're Canadian, and it's a woman-owned company. And what I love about this is it is so comprehensive. It gives you, I have to show you, it's crazy here. It gives you an opportunity to do what's called an October review. So you can review everything that's happened 3 memorable moments, what gave you energy this month, what drained you, a lesson, a thought, or growth from the month. And then it gives you an opportunity to plan for November, let's say. What boundaries will you set for yourself this month? List 3 things that you can carve out time for self-care. If you're looking for like a sort of a journal, but you don't want to journal daily, this is a really good thing to invest in. It's the second one I've gotten, and I do use it as a planner, and I do color code. Honest to God, it's obscene. If you
Oh,
can
I
see.
still color code too. Did I tell you I figured out how to color code on my phone? On my
Really?
Google
Well, that's
Calendar.
brilliant.
Oh, and I'm so happy now because
Oh, you just froze.
I mean we both used to train on
Or am I frozen?
time management.
Or has time stopped?
No, you're frozen, but it probably won't be frozen on the recording because that's happened before.
Where'd you go?
As long as you can still hear me. Oh, you can't hear me? Uh-oh. I might have to figure out how to edit this. Leah, can you hear me? Leah, can you hear me? No. Okay, so we're gonna finish our conversation because we lost connection, and hopefully it's somewhere on the computer, and if it's not, well, we'll re-record in a few days. But you won't know that because it's whenever we release it, right? Anyway, so, and sometimes we have to let go of perfection, right, Leah?
Well, I have said several episodes before, we have to be good before we're great, and we have to be great before we're awesome. But technical issues and technical challenges with the Zoom recording are not our responsibility.
No, in fact, I love it even with you know, the professionals who have producers and assistants and camera people, they still lose their connectivity.
You go, and that type of thing happens. So anyways, I think we've covered a lot
Pretty
of
much,
stuff.
yeah. I think we're almost at the point of wrapping it up anyway. So
Yeah.
let go, folks. Let go, breathe out, and be gentle with yourselves too. There's a Knef, the gentle art of self-compassion, something like that, is an incredibly useful book for self-compassion, which is part of letting go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, to bring joy and to help you kind of reset, you know, try something different, whether it's a fitness program or a change in your eating or a new hairdo, or go to the makeup counter at the Bay and get a makeover, whatever small things, you know.
And sometimes let go of what you've been holding on to for safety. It's that leap of faith. It's that letting go and letting yourself, as Leah says, try something new, but that leap of faith.
Yes, because you can't move ahead if you're looking back. If you're looking behind you, you can't be looking forward if you're looking behind you. So
Don't
you know,
drive through your rear view mirror.
Indeed, do not. Yeah. So, you know, we've given you a few tips here. So we're hoping that you will find, you know, something helpful. And of course, look forward to hearing many, many, many more useful things from us in the future.
Yeah. Like and subscribe. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do.
Please do, and please comment. You know, we want to know, we want feedback. We want to know what you want to hear from us. Are there any topics that you want to explore? And if you haven't already done so, if you're a woman, please join our Facebook group. We are keeping it women only and women friendly. So, you know, again, there is that opportunity for you as well. We really want to build a community here online. I think it's really important for women to connect. One of the things I always loved, and Margarett loved too, about doing home parties, is the fact that it was one of the rare opportunities we were able to bring women together into a group and have them, you know, forget about the dinner and forget about the laundry and forget about working and forget about the kids, just to come together and to talk and to share. And I think, you know, this is actually a continuation of what we both did in our careers, is to bring, you know, people together and bring conversation as well.
There we go. All right, Leah, I will talk with you really soon. And thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.
Bye.